Welcome to another edition of Inside Petaluma. We're in the heart of downtown Petaluma at Western and Petaluma Boulevard in front of Athletic Souls, which is in the clock tower right downtown. Everyone knows the building. We're going to talk to the person who runs this athletic shoe company and also has some other stuff to offer. And we're going to give you some inspiration, because if you've been thinking about maybe getting out and getting a little more active, and a lot of people do that with the new year, we're going to give you some really good advice and inspiration to get you going. So let's go inside. We're with Holly Wick inside Athletic Souls, which sells shoes. Obviously, I like the name, Souls. There must be a story behind that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we do. It's running specialty, so running, walking, shoes, and apparel and swimwear.
Inside the most visible building in downtown Petaluma.
Absolutely, the Masonic Lodge, right on the corner of Western and Petaluma Boulevard.
So tell me how you got started, because, I mean, a shoe store, you take it for granted. Oh, there's shoe stores all over the place, but Petaluma didn't have what you were looking for when you're looking for shoes.
No, there was, when I moved here 12 years ago, I just needed two things, a good coffee shop and a good running store. And I found the coffee shops, but I couldn't find a running store. So after 12 years, I decided to quit my teaching jobs and open up a store here in town.
Okay, so I just recently got into running. So those of you who are not into running might think, what's the big deal? A shoe's a shoe. You know, you just go to the, yeah, oh, really? I mean, that's what I thought, you know,
exactly.
I'm cheap, so I would go to the discount place and get the cheapest shoe I could find that I thought fit and take off with that. But if you're really into running and you want to be healthy and do it right, that's not the way to go.
Right. That's probably the biggest mistakes beginners make. They put anything on their feet and they go out and run. And you really want to get a shoe that's right for your foot. Shoes in running especially are really like eyewear. You know, you need a specific prescription for your feet, and that's what we do. We work with the local medical community, the local doctors. We have a doctor's night once a year to ensure that they know that what we're carrying, so that when they refer their patients to us, that we're giving them the best possible fit.
So when we start hearing about all these special things that go with these shoes, the cheap person like me sees dollar signs rolling by, but really the shoes here aren't any more or less than you'll find anywhere else.
Exactly. All the manufacturers put a suggested retail price on it, and you can't deviate from that more than a certain percentage, or they'll pull the product from your store. And in the big box store, they're not given the same quality of product that you would see in a specialty store, and that's because they know there's no one there to take the time to work with the customer and ensure that it's a good fit for their foot type.
So if you're new to running or just want to get better shoes and you already are running, the beauty of this place is the service that you get. So you have the treadmill, and walk me through what somebody walks in the store and says, I don't know what I need, but I want to run, help me out. Yeah,
exactly. The first thing I do is, and all our employees do, is we get really personal with the customer. We want to see your feet. Keep your socks on. Okay. So the first thing I ask is, you know, please take off your shoes, leave your socks on, and we take a look at the person's foot, the shape of the foot, whether or not they're over or under pronating. So we're looking at the height of their arch, and then we can make the best possible selection for them, bring down some models to try. And then the next step is that they like the fit on their foot, so we put them on the treadmill, and we videotape them as they're running to make sure that the shoe is working on their foot.
No extra charge for all this, and you're not going to get that service at the big box stores.
Exactly, no extra charge. And that's what we're looking for, that perfect fit where everybody's happy, that they're walking out with the best quality product that we can put on their foot.
And some people are really brand loyal, but when they get that kind of attention to detail, that kind of service, they might find that maybe that brand really wasn't the one I needed all that time.
Exactly. It's really helpful if people bring in their old running shoes. So if you've been running for a while and you came back with your old shoe, we can actually read the bottom of your shoe and tell you whether or not it's been working on your foot. And I personally test drive all the shoes, so and my employees do as well, so we can put them on. So if you say I want a specific feel for a shoe, we'll know because we've actually had them on our feet and tried them out.
And I've also learned in running that wearing the right clothing is important, because when you're sweating, you want something that breathes, and there are certain kinds of things you should and should not wear when you're doing especially longer distance running.
Exactly. You know, most people who haven't run for a long time and maybe ran in PE class, you know, decades ago.
Cotton t-shirt.
Cotton t-shirt. The cotton t-shirt. Well, cotton t-shirts are like cotton towels. You have a shower and you dry off with your towel. You come back an hour later, your towel's still wet. Now, on a cold day like today, you can imagine going out with a cotton shirt and you're going to start sweating halfway through. And then that moisture is going to be on your body and you are going to get really chilled. So that would not be fun. You'd be like a little popsicle by the time you got back. So running attire will wick the moisture away from your body while keeping you dry at your core, which is essential.
Okay. And then tell me about some of the runs that you get involved with, the store. I don't know if you sponsor runs or you co-sponsor or whatever, and you have the second annual Carousel Fund Run t-shirt on. So there's runs happening all the time. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. I mean, you usually think it's a fair weather thing, but it's not.
Exactly. I also, when I moved to town, was astonished that there wasn't a running group in town. Again, I don't like going up and down the freeways to find my recreation. They should be here in our town. So I had actually started run clubs with the elementary schools that I was teaching at. And at 2 elementary schools, we had over 100 runners when I was teaching there that would come first thing in the morning before school started to go running. So when I started the store, I did the same sort of thing. So as your cameraman will tell you, we do 6 a.m. runs on Tuesday mornings, rain or shine. 27 degrees on the track this past Tuesday.
Wow.
So we meet here at the store. You can meet us up at Petaluma High School's track, and we do an hour workout every Tuesday. Then we do special...
Our cameraman says he's actually thrown up after those runs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Wow.
but those are different kinds of runs. I mean, he's really
Exactly.
pushing himself. I'm not saying, don't run.
Yeah,
but,
you
you push yourself a little bit too far sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want to try to keep up with the person in front of you. Sometimes you think that because it's a girl in front of you, or one of my favorite runners is in his mid-60s, and I thought, we better, go slow. And he runs 5.5-minute miles. Wow. So, you got to be careful who's strapping on those shoes in front of you and just always do what's appropriate for your fitness level, not what you did in high school, Mm-hmm. So, and be mindful of that. So we also co-sponsor the Carousel Fund Run we put on directly for the Carousel Fund, which is Petaluma's largest nonprofit charity. And we do that once a year, and it coincides with the Carousel Fund in October. Then we co-sponsor the Petaluma Foot Race. Athleta is the main sponsor of the event, and Chris Mason, the founder of the Petaluma Foot Race, works for us, and he's a race director. And that race, I remember when it started a number of years ago, maybe there was 100 people. Now, last year there was 900 people. So it kicks off the Butter and Eggs Day celebrations. And then this past year, Chris started the Moo Cow Half Marathon, which was an awesome event. I got to outline the course, and people complained that it was hilly, but we live in the hills, so you want to run in the hills. Right. And it was a great first-time event. I think we'll see the participation double this year, and that will be in September. This year. So it'll be the second annual, and you definitely want to sign up for them early because they're filling up. So it's nice that people don't have to leave town for these events. And in our monthly newsletter, every month I put out a newsletter from the store, and it talks about local events, not just running, walking, Christmas tree lighting ceremonies, anything that's fun and local to downtown or Petaluma, and then races that are nearby, so you don't have to go to the South Bay to do a half marathon, that you can stay here in town.
One of the biggest challenges a lot of people have, and myself included when I first started running, was thinking that I can't do it. Even a half marathon, which is 13 miles, I just didn't have the motivation. Even when I started running, I just didn't think I could do it. Holly, you're an inspiration in yourself, so tell me what you've been going through with your cancer situation and how you've still been able to keep running.
Yeah, last year, this year, I'm looking forward to the end of this year. It's been a difficult one. I was diagnosed about this time last year with uterine cancer. And of course, when you get a diagnosis like that, the first thing, you think about your family, obviously, in your life, and you wonder, how active you can be. And doctors always want to be cautious. So I kept on having a vision of my healthy self, and it was really helpful to talk to friends of mine who were athletes, because I only wanted to compare myself with other athletes. And a good friend of mine had stage 4 cancer, and she was able to come back and run marathons. So it was really helpful to have that image of a healthy person in your head. both when you're going into surgery and also for recovery. And I was scared to do anything. And I remember coming home after 3 days in hospital thinking, I'm too afraid to go out and run. I might hurt myself. And then I thought, no, I don't want it. That doesn't make sense. I don't want to just be fearful for fear's sake. So I took myself to the track and I told myself, and this is one day out of hospital, and I said, if I can do a mile, everything will be okay, and I will only run it if I feel good. And it was a relatively slow pace, 1 foot in front of the other, just put 1 foot in front of the other. And at the end, it did start to, I could feel pressure, and I backed off. And you have to know, knowing when to push and when to back off is something that you really, as an athlete, you got to always be in tune with, because if you push through too much pain, you're going to do damage. You know, so you really want to play with that line. You know, you still have to get up every morning and say, what can I do to make my health better? And it might be a walk on that day, it might be a run. You also, which I'm learning this year, learning how to back off, that sometimes you can back off and have great performances because you backed off, because you listened to your body, that you didn't push through. So
what we're trying to do, Holly, is get the folks who have never run before or haven't run for years to think about it and maybe come down and talk to you and get that inspiration, because, you know, there are days for me where I don't want to run, you know, and I force myself to do it, and maybe some days I just say, you know what, I'm just giving myself a day off. And you can't beat yourself up if you're not, you know, doing 100% every day. But if you're making some effort, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, you're getting in the direction you want to go. So people at home may think, well, I'm not going to run a marathon, I'm not going to do an Ironman. But if you walk as a start, you know, you're going in the right direction.
So when people tell me, you know, I can't do this and I can't do that, I always say, no, you can do it. You may choose not to, and that's great. But, you know, it's amazing what we're capable of. And I've seen it time and time again when I go to triathlons. It's never the pros that I look at. It's always these amazing age group athletes who all have a big story to tell, or these athletes with disabilities who are more able than most of the able-bodied people that I see. So I really draw inspiration from those guys.
And you can't tell by looking at a person how athletic they are, because I know running that I've been passed by people that I thought just got off the couch with a bag of potato chips. I'm not kidding. And they're just like blowing by me and I can't keep up. And then I'm passing somebody who looks like they should be on the cover of a fitness magazine, and they're just dragging. So it's really hard to gauge people. I mean, to a certain point, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's really true. But the track workouts at 6 a.m. will help your speed for sure. So you have to put in your speed work if you want to get faster.
I've been passed by a man who was 68, and I couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah. One of the ladies I compete with is Sister Madonna, who is a retired nun, and she's 81 this year. And I mean, she's a beautiful person inside and out. And it's awesome because the sister will smile and wave to you as she passes a lot of people out on the field. And she's in her 80s, and she's doing Ironman, which is 2.5-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a 26.2 marathon. So, you know,
there's no limits.
There is no limits, yeah.
We want to thank Holly Wick for showing us everything there is here at Athletic Souls. It's a great store. Come on down and get inspired, get out the door, do what you want to do that makes you feel good. It doesn't have to be a marathon or an Ironman. It can be anything, and they'll set you up, give you the right equipment so you can get out there, and you're not going to get gouged, so don't worry about that. And it's a professional operation. They can tell you where to run and when to run and hook you up with all the right groups, and you'll have a lot of fun. So that's it for this edition of Inside Petaluma. We'll see you next time.
So for some people it takes a few deep breaths here, others can do it a little. So it's how much ground I'm covering behind me. And there are your running arms. That. Don't match it, I'm just moving it. Okay, so let's reach up and set that posture.